everybody! This week we're going to learn about a story from the book of Acts. We're going to talk about some of Paul's travels and a really exciting event that happened while he was traveling. So let's go ahead and listen to the story. Paul was leaving to face trial in Rome before Caesar. He said farewell to his friends. Paul had been arrested by the Romans and charged with causing trouble because he was a Christian. He had appealed for his case to be heard in Rome, so he was being escorted there, guarded by Roman soldiers. Once the ship set sail, the wind began to blow strongly, forcing the captain to change course. At the port of Myra, they boarded an Egyptian ship bound for Italy. After several days of rough sailing, at last the port of Fair Havens in Crete came into sight. They sailed to the shelter of Fair Havens port and docked, where they rested for several days. As Fair Havens was an exposed harbor, a poor place to spend the winter, most of the crew advised trying to go further round the coast, the Phoenix, to winter there. Paul said, "I believe there is trouble ahead if we go on, perhaps shipwreck, loss of cargo, injuries, and death." But they did not listen to him. Just then, a light wind began blowing from the south, so they pulled up anchor and sailed along, close to shore. But then a heavy wind of typhoon strength, known as a nor'easter, blew the ship out to sea. They tried to turn back to shore but couldn't, so they gave up and let the ship run before the gale. They sailed behind a small island named Plata, where they hoisted aboard the lifeboat that was being towed behind them. They banded the ship with ropes to strengthen the hull. After being driven across the quicksands of the African coast, they lowered the topsails and were driven along by the wind. The next day the sea grew higher. The crew began throwing cargo overboard. The following day they threw out the tackle and anything else they could lay their hands on. The terrible storm raged unabated for many days, until at last all hope was gone. Paul called the crew together and said, "Men, you should have listened to me, and you would have avoided all this injury and loss. But cheer up. An angel visited me last night and said that none of us will lose our lives, even though the ship will go down. God told me, 'Don't be afraid, Paul, for you will stand trial before Caesar.' What's more, God has answered my prayers and will save the lives of all those sailing with you. So take courage, for I believe God. We will be shipwrecked on an island." The storm blew until the ship was close to land. The crew took soundings and the water was getting shallower. Some of the sailors planned to abandon ship and lower the lifeboat. But Paul said to the soldiers and commanding officer, "You will all die unless everyone stays aboard." So the soldiers cut the ropes and they let the lifeboat drift away. As the darkness gave to the early morning light, Paul begged everyone to eat. "You haven't touched food for 2 weeks," he said. He gave thanks to God, and they ate. He reassured them, "Not a hair of your head shall perish." The ship then hit a small sandbar and ran aground. The bow of the ship stuck fast, and the waves began to break it apart. The soldiers wanted their commanding officer to let them kill the prisoners in case they swam ashore and escaped, but Julius wanted to spare Paul, so he refused. Then he ordered all who could swim to jump overboard and make for the land, and the rest to hold on to the planks and debris from the broken ship. All 276 on board made it safely ashore, just as God had promised. So no matter what happened, God was with Paul. He was with him on the boat. He was with him when he was on trial with the Romans. He was always with him. No matter what was happening, God was always with him, and he was always looking out for Paul. He told him that everybody was going to be okay on the boat. Even though the boat might not make it, everybody was going to be okay. And he was always with him. And God is always with us in our lives, no matter how hard things seem, or things may be really hard now, but God is with us, and he is always looking out for us. And eventually things will get better if we trust in God. So let's go ahead and make our craft this week. For this craft, you're going to want a piece of paper, some red, some brown, some blue, I don't know, some color to make your sail out of, scissors, glue stick, and a marker. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold your piece of brown construction paper in half. And go ahead and cut it. Once you have a half sheet of construction paper, you're going to cut it to make a curve. Like this. Then you're going to go ahead and glue that down. Then I'm going to take my blue construction paper and I'm going to cut out some ocean waves. Just like this. You can make them big, you can make them small. The water is kind of rough in this story, so maybe you kind of want to make them big. And then you're going to go ahead and glue that down on the bottom of your paper like this. So now you can see that your boat is in the water. Then you're going to take your brown construction paper and you're just going to cut a little bit of a pole. It's a strip of paper. And you're going to glue that down. I'm going to kind of glue it under the bottom of my boat just to make it look a little nicer on my paper. Just like this. Then I'm going to make my sail. So I'm going to make my sail blue. So I'm going to measure how big I want my sail. So I'm going to mark it like here. And then I don't want it to go all the way down. So I'm going to mark my sail about like this. So this is going to be really cool. We're going to make a 3D sail for our boat. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out that rectangle. Then I'm going to kind of curve my sail in on both sides. So it's bigger on the top than it is on the bottom. That'll make our sail look a little bit more realistic. Then you're going to fold both ends of your sail. And then we're going to glue it down so it sticks up. So I'm going to put glue both the folded parts. I want to put kind of a lot of glue. It might be a little hard to make this stick. So once I glue it down, I'm going to kind of get it to stick up a little bit by pushing the corners together. So there's my sail. And then what boat is complete without a little flag? So I'm going to cut a rectangle. Kind of how I've done like forked tongues before for snakes. And then I'm just going to glue it on my boat. So there is my ship. Then on my boat, I'm going to write, God is with us in the roughest seas. So I hope you had fun making your craft this week. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in Sunday school. Bye!